Welcome to Ring Talk, the weekly Goodwin boxing programme. This week we're going to have a look back at the Hayemaker show that Steve and all of Goodwin Boxing were involved in over the weekend. A couple of fighters that you got involved this weekend on the Big Matchroom show. And we're going to talk in depth about Chisora and Joyce and try and set the records straight a little bit. But we'll start off by reflecting back on Saturday night down at York Hall, the Hayemaker boxing show. We'll start from the beginning of the card, I guess. So Daniel Mendes.
Daniel Mendes took a shot in round one, went down, didn't he?
No, I didn't. I missed the first round of it.
I thought he might have got up for him, but he got up and he battled his way through and won the fight. But it was that wasn't in the script. No, but yeah, he still won the fight. Showed a lot of heart and battled through it. I don't think he wants to be repeating that again. Yeah. But the thing he told me before the fight, he had really awful preparation for it for various reasons. So I did say to him, well, I think the opponent's not the best opponent you'll ever face. So I think we'll be okay. And I think, thank God, it wasn't the best opponent he'll ever face because he wasn't right. But
he'll have better days.
And I think he'll learn from it. Like he'll learn from that. So he was good.
Ricky
Heavens was on second against Jordan Granum.
I thought that was the best performance I've seen from Ricky.
Yeah, he's turning into a proper fighter and he's improving under Barry O'Connell. Yeah. And Barry said he's actually applying himself better than he's ever done. And he really feels he's turning from a boy into a man. So I'm really excited about Ricky going forward, which is great.
Yeah. I'm probably not going to get these in the right order, so excuse me. But Adi Burden,
he fought Callum. He's moved to 6-0 now.
That's a really enjoyable fight. And the two of them, they seem to really enjoy it. Like at the end of the fight, with big smiles and a cuddle. And I sat with my mate actually watching it. I said, I bet you those two become sparring partners if they're near enough location wise.
Yeah, I mean they don't. No, I put in an entertaining fight, and Adi's he's a work in progress, learning as he goes along, and I'm really pleased with his progress. So, we spoke to him, and he hasn't really been sparring any pros.
Right.
Which I said needs to be addressed because he's going to need to improve his technical stuff and be used to sparring pros. So we're going to be working on that going forward because he definitely needs that to progress forward. But I'm delighted with how he's progressed, but we need to step up the training regime and he needs to be sparring pros.
He's still very raw, isn't he, Adi? But that's not a criticism of him. I actually really enjoy watching him. He's come on to
he's got something there, hasn't he?
He has.
He's got something there.
He has. There's a lot of like grit and determination that perhaps masks the skill that may not be there right now, but he's fun to watch. He'll be in some good fights.
Yeah, so no, I'm delighted with him. We've just got to keep plodding and progressing. And he sold a good number of tickets on Saturday, so he's done very well.
He's a nice kid as well. I was chatting to him in the past, said to me, how you feel? And he went, I'm all right. I'll win or I'll lose. I'll knock him out or I'll get knocked out. Either way. Brilliant.
It's my job to make sure he doesn't get knocked out, though. So.
Yeah, no, I like his attitude.
No, he done well. He done very well.
Mark Little.
Paul, that was life and death, wasn't it? I mean, the first round he handled Rudan really well. Not many people put Rudan down in the first round. So I thought with Mark, he'd done really well then, but then in the third round he got caught himself and it was a bit touch and go there for a bit.
Yeah, he seemed to lose his composure. He was just leaving his head down the middle and getting pinged with every shot that came at him. And when he went down, he did brilliantly to get back up because I thought he was in real trouble at that point. And get through that fourth round. It was a hard fight. But he's been out the ring a long time too, hasn't he? And he got through it.
And he showed again grit and determination. And again, he'll learn from that. And Paul Cook's a great trainer, so he'll take him back and correct what went wrong in that third round. Because he looked really, in the first round, I thought he looked fantastic.
Yeah. So.
Dan Keenan?
Dan Keenan, yeah, that was another hard fight, wasn't it? It was a real test.
He won the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And then faded a bit towards the back end of the fight, and he scraped it 39-38.
Yeah. He brings some fans with him down.
Yeah, he's very young. He's very, he is a young lad, and when you are only 20 years of age, it's not even just the whole thing of the boxing. He's had 8 fights. He's only 20. But we need to find out why he fades after, because it happened at Wembley. And he faded again after about a round and a half. That he faded here after 2 rounds. Because when he was on the game for the first round, he looked exceptionally great, and I thought he's doing really well. But then he does seem to have a stamina issue, and it's not a skill problem. It's just a stamina problem.
No, I know it's a cliche about man strength, and he's only 20 years old, but he does look like somebody that would benefit from getting that man strength. However you get it through more. Barry O'Connell's the best person probably in London to sort that out for him. Yeah. He's a phenomenal trainer with that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, he's technically such a lovely boxer to watch. But your heart starts going, your mouth come around.
He got caught too much on Saturday, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that was a shame.
Yeah.
Youssef Khoumari.
Youssef Khoumari, I thought he looked brilliant, Youssef. You're never going to stop Christian Lay unless you've got hands of stone. And, but I said to you before that I actually saw Chris Lay come up to Xavier Miller in his corner at the end of the fight and gave him a little nod and said something to him about, and pointed back and said something around the lines of that kid's good.
Oh, he's exceptional. I think he's great. He's got everything. Youssef Khoumari. He's going to be a little gem.
Yeah. Speaking of little gems, Linus Udofia.
Big gem.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's the middleweight. I mean, he's great. Linus is great. I can't speak highly enough of him. I think he's super talented. I think he's going to the top. I think he's improving all the time. I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
I think,
as a person and as a boxer as well, because outside of the ring, lovely bloke.
I think it's great. I think Linus has got everything that you want from a boxer.
But he's got, and I sat with my mate on Saturday night and we sat, chatting as it was going along. But those pivots he throws off of the body shots, or to open up the angles for the body shots, you don't see it that often. And it's I was going to christen him Linuschenko. He's got that little ability to come off, go to an angle, throw the shot, and then he'll pick another one, or he'll walk off. Either way, but I love watching Linus. He's a real threat.
He's really good. It's just we're getting there, and we're going to be, realistically, he's not far off going for titles.
Well, we've got a question about that later.
I'll leave that then. So
Wadi Camacho, Danny Couzens.
Well, I think we're going to watch some footage of that after we finish talking. But I mean, Danny had improved since the first fight.
Yeah.
But Wadi turned back the years. I thought put the best performance I've seen in many years. And I thought Wadi Camacho looked far better than I've seen him in a long time. And Danny knew that after 2 rounds. And Danny, tough man, he should win a Southern Area title. He will win a Southern Area title.
He's in an era that he's really unlucky that
he just bumped into Wadi. But the point was, when he fought Wadi the first time, I said to Danny, don't ever fight for the Southern Area against Wadi again. Don't do it. But what happened was he saw Wadi's last 2 performances against Ozzy and Jose Lopez and thought, hold on a minute, I think he's sliding here. So he wanted to take the fight. But Wadi and Terry Colt have done an amazing job, and Wadi looked really good.
He looked comfortable, he looked composed, he was showboating when he wanted. Some of those thunderous shots that Danny took, and full credit to Danny Couzens, because there are so many fighters that wouldn't have been there in the later stages whilst he was still there.
He's a nice guy, amazing man. I just hope he stays around and goes to win that title, because he will win the Southern Area.
It would be great for his career. When he comes to the end of it, which I'm not saying is now, but at that point when he does, to retire having won that Southern Area title would be a great story for him.
100%. And he won't fight people better than Wadi Camacho for it.
No.
That's for sure.
No.
So I think we're going to watch a bit of the highlights now. So.
Yep.
Right.
There we go. And there were a lot of interested cruiserweights sat around ringside that, Wadi could find himself with. So that was a Commonwealth eliminator.
There was Luke Watkins there.
I saw you had a chat with him and Paddy Fitzpatrick for a little while.
Lawrence Okoli. There's people, and obviously May Askins was fine as the main event. But we'll do our stuff for Wadi. But we're gonna be looking at a few things, and we'll just keep that under wraps for a little while now. But I know Luke Watkins is chasing Matty Askin. So they do.
Cody's floating around.
So they're all going to do what they feel they want to do, and we'll do our stuff. But I think that with Wadi now, we've got quite a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, but I mean, in the same way that it would be great when Danny retires to have that Southern Area title, it'd be great for Wadi if he got one more run at a big level title, something that he could put on his mantelpiece when the days are over. Because that performance on Saturday was one of the best that I've seen of him. As you say, it rolled back the years.
And I think on that performance, he beats a lot of people that perhaps people might not have thought he would have beaten before Saturday.
Yeah,
that's my belief. So, but without saying names, I think there's people out there that he can beat. So we'll just see what we can make.
I think that's everybody from Saturday night that we've covered.
If we've missed anybody, really sorry we're doing this ad hoc, but I don't think we missed
I always forget people, so
I don't think we missed anybody.
So we'll move forward then to this Saturday night down at the O2. Probably the most handsome man, sickeningly good looking in boxing. Not me, Frank Buglioni. taking on Callum Johnson, a fight that was meant to happen last year.
Great fight.
Got postponed.
Great fight. There's been a big rush of money on Callum Johnson.
Has there?
It was. Frank started off.
I'm going to go Frank.
Well, Frank started off at 4-7, 1-2. He's now nearly even money. Frank.
Is he?
And Callum Johnson's been back from 7-4 down to nearly even money, 5-4 now. So the big money out there is all for Callum Johnson. So people must be seeing something, or they must be getting out of the gym, but. He's going to have to go some to win.
Yeah.
And my money's on Frank to win the Lonsdale outright against all undefeated fighters.
What a great achievement that would be as well. And I know some people out there, question marks over the likes of Craig Richards stepping up, but just that fact alone, he's taken on the best domestically, taken on the undefeated, including winning it off of an undefeated fighter. And
the only ones that he hasn't fought, if you think about it, are those, we go back to Yard, who refused to step up to fight to go into the British title mix. So the only reason he hasn't fought Yard is Yard didn't go into the British title mix. So all this rest of the rubbish, he's fought the best he could possibly fight for the British title, and the one guy that really, in my opinion, has been running from him and throwing out offers, but he's got to vacate the British title to do it. It's just a nonsense. So he's fought the best that he could fight in the British that was served up to him in the British level. Yeah. So he's done everything one could expect from him. Yeah. And Callum Johnson, it's a tough fight. He's a Commonwealth gold medalist, undefeated fighter. He's been out of the ring for a fair while now. He's a Commonwealth champion still, I believe. He's an excellent fighter. Apparently, really nice guy. So he deserves his chance because he's gone under the radar in that stable. So it's his chance to shine on Saturday, and but we're confident that Frank will win the Lonsdale outright. I think I can foresee there's going to be a few tricky rounds early doors because Callum's a lovely boxer. Frank, gritty, tough. He'll see it through. I can see a late stoppage for Frank. I might be wrong, might be miles off, but I can see it being a real war. I look forward to it, but Frank's always in a war, isn't he? Doesn't make even if he was fighting like me, he wouldn't make it easy, mate. He wouldn't make it that difficult. I'd be great because after Saturday, providing Frank wins, and we fully expect him to, we've got so many options available, so it's really, really exciting. Yeah, so Frank, wish you all the best for Saturday night. We'll be tuned in. Yeah. You'll be there? Yeah. Dereck Chisora. Dereck Chisora's... we'll only talk about Saturday for now rather than the future for Dereck. Yeah, Saturday, I mean, basically, when Dereck went on Saturday, I know we're going to come on to this, you want to carry on about Joe Joyce in a minute, which we can do. On Saturday, this was about, we were originally going to do a 10-rounder against a world top 20 opponent. But when you do shows like this, the control of the money is not just Matchroom's, it's Matchroom and Dillian White. Dillian White earns the right to co-promote the financials of the show. Yeah. So to sign off a fight that Dereck wants, it has to be approved by not only Matchroom, but Dillian as well. And Dillian's looking at maximising the profit from the show. So we've ended up getting an 8-rounder against a journeyman type opponent, which is not what we ideally wanted to do, but it's what we've ended up with. But obviously the key to it is, I've said to Dereck, is not who we're fighting, it's how he looks and the fact that he shows that he's remotivated and focused and everything else. And then after Saturday we can look at the various options available. So he's going to have a run out. We'd hoped originally it was going to be a bit of a different fight than this, but the guy he's fighting, who we're told he's fighting, has taken some other top quality fighters a distance. So we'll see how Dereck gets on. We're looking for Dereck to hopefully do a number on him and show that he's back. I think he's angry that I think he's in an angry mood at the moment, and that's good because he really wants. I think he's annoyed with himself over Monaco, and I think he wants to put the record straight. So we're hoping on Saturday, people after Saturday go, no, Dereck Chisora really is focused and motivated. Yeah, so the onus is on performance more than result. Well, the result is obviously important. Yeah, but I mean the performance is key. It's not the fact of if he wins, it's how he wins that generates what we do next. Yeah. Really, that's what it is. So we'll move on to some of the questions that we've got. So we'll start with Mikey at Analyse Boxing on Twitter. And thank you for your support as always, Mikey. Any chance that Wadi could fight Sam Hyde after he made the challenge? Or is Joe Gallagher likely to swerve the fight as he prefers Bulgarian road sweepers over live opponents? Not my words. But what does Sam Hyde offer? Yeah. Nothing? Yeah. He can challenge all he likes. What does he offer? He's won the Southern Area, now won a Commonwealth Eliminator, ranked 7 in the country on BoxRec. He's now at the highest ranking he's been for quite a few years. Sam Hyde offers nothing. Yeah. So the chance of him fighting Sam Hyde, 0.
All right. Predictions for White versus Brown, and how much of a factor will Brown's weight be, in your opinion? I haven't seen his weight. Is he
he's heavier.
heavy?
He's heavier. I think he's heavier. I think I like Lucas Brown. You know, I went out for dinner with him. But I think Dillian Whyte wins this. I think it's a comfortable win. I'm actually going to have a bet on Dillian Whyte to win.
Yeah.
I know it's short odds, but I think he wins. I like Lucas Brown as a person, but I think this is Dillian Whyte's fight all day long. I think he'll move too much. I think he'll wear him down, and I think he'll probably stop him late on.
White's always, Brown's always got that power though, hasn't he? He's
he can
live.
He can hit, but then Dillian Whyte has never, apart from getting tagged by Joshua, he took a lot of shots from Joshua. I think Dillian Whyte has a good chin. I will be very surprised if Lucas can actually connect.
Yeah. Okay. Daniel Smith on Twitter, can you discuss the British heavyweight scene at the moment? Hughie Fury, who last fought for a world title, now fighting for the British. Joyce is after Dell, who you would say is above British. Personally, I'm confused by what the levels the British heavyweights are. So he's listed some: White, Hughie Fury, Dereck Chisora, being just under world. AJ kind of in a bracket of his own. Then you've got the likes of Sexton, Cornish, Price, Allen, Dubois, Gorman, Webb, Joyce. So yeah, it's a vibrant mix, but none of them are fighting each other at the moment, it seems.
Well, Hughie Fury's fighting Sam Sexton.
Sam Sexton, yeah.
So Sam Sexton is British level, tops.
Yeah. I mean, let's be perfectly blunt about it. Fighting Gary Cornish and beating Gary Cornish, that's a weak British type. Just my view.
It goes back to the old days when people like Neville Mead and Hugh Roy, Trevor Curry held the British title. They were just gatekeepers for somebody good that was going to get it. And I like Sam as a person.
Yeah, it's no disrespect to Sam, but to beat Gary Cornish for British is...
So it doesn't. I don't feel that British level. I think Hughie Fury obviously has proved that he's probably a bit better than British level,
but not much. Again, not much, honest,
not much better.
I love Hughie. I've met Hughie a few times. I've spoken with Hughie. He's a really nice guy, like Peter Fury, like Tyson. But people that bang on about he beat Joseph Parker. He did this, he did that. But there wasn't a performance there that makes me think you're a threat to anyone at world level.
I'd agree.
And that's not being horrible to Hughie. It's just being realistic.
So if we go through all of these, you've got a lot of wannabes, a lot of. Even if you take Dereck Chisora, Dereck has competed at world level, but he's won a European title before, but he's not won at world level.
Yeah.
So in reality, what is a world class fighter? A world class fighter for me is somebody that I can genuinely believe will win a world title. Of those names that you mentioned, I don't think there's any there at this moment in time that you can sit there and say they're going to win a world title on current performances. So, I think Dereck Chisora on his day, he fought, obviously him and Dillian Whyte had life and death at the MEN, and you could have given it either way. But Dillian isn't yet proven to be world class. He's proven, I think Dillian is proven to be a really good level international operator, and time will tell whether he's world class. Losing to Joshua didn't prove he's world class, and Dereck has to have one final roll of the dice to see if he can be world class. And that's but again, his performance against Klitschko, world class in losing. I mean world class in winning.
Yeah.
So, and there's no disrespect to anybody, but I think that some of these, including Dereck Chisora, could come out of here and become world class.
Yeah.
And could prove they are world class. But at the moment, I think they all have it to prove.
Yeah. The likes of Dubois, Gorman.
You got to fight.
I personally don't rate Nick Webb, but that's just my opinion. Joyce, but they're all ones that could go on, or they could fall by the wayside.
Correct, but again, you can't. Daniel Dubois looks. I mean, I had somebody told me Saturday he's going to be. I can't remember who told me that he's going to be unified world champion. I don't see how you can say that because nobody's hit him yet.
No.
So I'm saying he's got exceptional excitement behind him, but you see as Anthony Yard's improving, all of a sudden people are going, is he that good? Is he as good as we thought?
Yeah.
And Daniel Dubois may be the same, but he seems a nice guy, so good luck to him. But I don't think we can be talking world class at this stage. And again, when you've got 4 world titles, 5 world titles, what's world class?
Yeah. Okay, question from Des Kickbox. Why wasn't Joyce in with a better opponent in his last fight? Surely one could have been found. Scratch Del Boy, Joe Joyce hasn't got anything that he wants. So in terms of the opponent, Donny Palmer, I've seen stories knocking about around the South Coast and around London that Donny Palmer has been starched in gyms all around London.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Like, the fact that he was in with Joe Joyce is it's a good bit of matchmaking on paper, that you've got a lad who's, what is he, 7-1 or whatever.
I think they were genuinely struggling to get somebody to fight Joe Joyce.
Yeah.
I mean, I know for a fact they were trying. Ringstar in America were looking for opponents. They were looking. So I don't know if it was, and again, I'm not privy to it, I don't know whether they weren't paying enough, whether there wasn't enough investment. They were asking. Yeah. I don't know whether it's a money thing or whether people were scared of fighting Joe Joyce.
But it's a hard one because we're going to come on to the whole Chisora Joyce situation, but he doesn't offer anything, and he's a major threat.
What does Joe Joyce offer? What does Joe Joyce offer any credible opponent?
Yeah.
It's like you've got Filip Hrugovic, I think he's exceptional. He's exactly the same as Joe Joyce, coming through. Both potentially could get up there. One of them may well end up. But at this moment in time, they offer no world rankings. They offer nothing to anybody.
Yeah.
Who is going to want to do that fight?
Yeah.
I don't, and that's why I think there's a struggle. So I think David Hay, who is doing a good job promoting Joe Joyce, so I would want to. But the point is, he put him in with Lewison on his debut. He's now got a situation where Joyce is going to be a hard fight for anybody.
Yeah.
And if there is nothing to gain, where's he going? And I think they're struggling for opponents. Hence the continual Dereck Chisora thing, because they are hoping that by keep going on and on and on and on and on and on and
pressure.
on, you're going to change your mind. And we'll cover that in a minute. But I understand why David's doing that, because they are struggling for Joe Joyce's opponent.
Yeah. Jamie Ingleby, Chisora Joyce is a great fight. How about Joyce and the winner of Fury Sexton, rankings aside? I mean, that's where they ought to be going with it, in my view. Is that I don't know if he can fight for the British title yet with the number of fights he's had.
That'd be up to the board. That'd be up to the board, wouldn't it? I mean, you've seen Lomachenko fight for world title in fight 2. So I think Joe Joyce is perfectly qualified to fight for a British title. He beat Lewis and fought for a British title. So I see no reason why Joe Joyce couldn't fight for a British title. It's money, isn't it?
Yeah, it's where does the investment come from?
Where does the investment come from? Who's going to pay for it?
Yeah.
So I think reality, that's where he has to go. He has to fight somebody who has no world ranking, who has no aspirations of world level, and somebody who has nothing, who isn't got anything to gain, because that's what they've got to do.
Yeah.
Or pay somebody who's desperate enough to take a large sum of money to take that fight for whatever reason.
What's Tony Thompson up to these days? Get him back over.
There you go, one of them.
Someone like that would be.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a very difficult job they've got, and I think they're doing a good job with Joe Joyce, but they've got some problems in matching it.
Yeah. Question from Dumps. Like Dumps, Luton based. With Brad Pauls and Linus Udofia both making great progress in the middleweights, how is Steve going to manage both fighters chasing the same belts? Both have their eyes in the southern area this year, I would think.
Yeah, they'll both. Basically, one will go forward first.
Will it toss a coin or?
Well, we'll discuss it with Terry Stewart, the trainer.
Yeah.
Because it's not really fair for me to do that. I mean, I think it's a case of whoever we're going to fight, who we think both of them win it whenever, but who basically wins it easier.
Yeah. I discussed it with Terry as well. I think he was that was before the Brad fight.
Yeah.
I don't think he had his mind made up.
No, so we'll sit down and discuss it. But I think it's whoever wins the belt easier, and there's no rush. They're both very young, so we can move them along. As one moves from the southern area to English, the other one can come in and win the southern area.
Over.
Yeah, I think we can work simultaneously together. They're not going to fight each other, so we just need to. It's a lovely position to have. Yeah. Two kids who are above southern area level.
But that's where the management comes in, isn't it? Because you're then working with the pieces of a chessboard, working out who moves where, and.
But then you've got other things to do. You know, when they get to a certain level, there are other titles that you can start to get yourself qualified for. Which again, I don't want to discuss on it because it tells other people how to do their job properly.
Yeah.
And I want to keep that to myself. So there are other ways. It really isn't. It isn't it. But once we decide what we're going to do, when we're going to push the button, because at the moment you have a champion who's entitled to a voluntary. We're not really interested in what potentially was being offered last week, so we'll take advantage of that as we went down the line. So again, I don't want to divulge what we're going to do, but both fighters will be in the mix this year.
It's a real shame from my perspective that some of the more high profile promoters don't take a chance on lads like this.
I agree.
They're good ticket sellers. They talk well, they look great, and they can fight. Like, those are the things I'd have thought if you're a big time promoter.
I don't get. I think it's. And when you see, and again, it's not for me, when you see some of the people that are being signed to big time promoters,
it raises questions.
I just put my hands up like that and say, what are you on?
Yeah.
But my job is to batter down the doors until I get the right thing for both of them, and that will happen. It will happen.
Question from Riku. With MTK signing lots of fighters and starting to run regular shows up and down the country, is this a benefit or a threat to other small hall promoters? It's a good question, I like that.
I think we covered before. I don't see anything as a threat. I think there's always been various promoters in boxing, and they're running the regionalised promoting. If they do it better than everybody else and they do it consistently, then maybe some small hall promoters may struggle. The thing at the moment is they are a new promotional outfit in their infancy. So we haven't seen any longevity or what really happens down the line. If you take Tommy Duff, when he came out last year and promoted, everybody started saying he gives amazing deals, this, that and the other, but he didn't last. I'm not saying they won't last, but you don't know what they're going to deliver. All I can say is, we are not seeing a reduction in our numbers of boxers. We are not seeing a reduction in our numbers of inquiries. We are not seeing a reduction in the conversion of boxers that we're signing, and we are not seeing a reduction in the quality of the boxers that we're getting. So it's not a threat to us. It makes no odds to us. To other promoters in other smaller parts of the country, not in a big area like London, they may be under threat.
So they've just gone with Newcastle today, I think, haven't they? MTK as a new branch, but. I think there's always going to be that dilution, isn't there? Because most of these boxers, they work in circles of friends. So, if you've got one on your show and one on an MTK show, there's always that risk. But in reality, I mean, MTK, until they get better commentators back on their shows, they're no risk to anyone.
But I think at the end of the day,
know where I am, Lee.
Yeah. I think the bottom line with it is they're doing what they do, and time will tell.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
When people start off promoting, they become like a flavour of the month. But we haven't seen, if I was sitting here saying our numbers are falling, our boxers at the end of the contract want to leave and join MTK, it's not happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
And you've got a handful of announcements to make next week.
Yeah, loads of signings and meeting boxers about renewing their contracts with us this week. Some really good talented kids who want to stay with us. So that's great. We can't say, from our point of view, things couldn't be any better.
Yeah. Question from Mark Coomber. What's next for Wadi Camacho? I see him working harder than I see him work before. Is Simmons Part 2 a possibility? Now, I think Stephen Simmons retired, didn't he, after that Matty Askin fight?
Yeah.
Which there was a lovely moment in the ring. I don't know if you saw it,
the baby,
where they got the baby in Steve Simmons' newborn, and then there's Matty Askin and Stephen Simmons holding this baby for photos. It's lovely. You don't see that in other sports where two, opponents come together at the end of it and show that respect. It's a lovely moment.
Well, I think Stephen Simmons had a good career, and I think he's had a good career. You'd probably look back and say potentially there's, you could have done it maybe somewhat different, but we're part of that. As far as when Wadi Camacho goes from here, that's the point. When you're doing what you're doing, you do it in secret. You don't announce on here so everybody else knows what they're doing, and people all ask me and say, what are you doing with this? And you don't want to discuss what you're planning, because if you discuss what you're planning, you ruin it. So sorry, but that will be, when I've done it, then we'll all know.
Alright, there's two questions here regarding the news that Billy Joe Saunders versus Martin Murray has been cancelled today, or postponed, not cancelled. New date or no date? Is Saunders about to find himself in the ring with Triple G next, from the Boxing Madman? So I think there have been stories circulating that Canelo may have had issues with a second drugs test, and it falls in line with the news that Billy Joe Saunders has had his fight pushed back. I think there's if you put a tin hat on, you could say there's a possibility Saunders finds himself in Vegas fighting Triple G. Yes or no?
Possibly.
Yeah, you can't rule anything out, can you?
But depending on who's doing what and what's going on, sometimes you just have to say, just expect anything, because you don't know what's really going on sometimes with certain things, do you? You don't know where there's an undercurrent. And I'll give it. I think, just let's leave it like that.
Question from 13 Mike Boxing. Can you ask Steve why Frank Warren cancels every event I buy tickets to? The bleep. I won't pronounce that.
I think the problem is with I think the problem that you've got is the Frank Warren shows have less attendances than they should have for the quality of them, and this is because of people don't trust shows to go ahead. And I don't think we're talking about last 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 20. There have been problems where I can think of 3 shows that have gone recently.
But the worst thing is, 12 to 6 months ago, it was flying. There were some really good shows. We were talking about it that, he's really back on track. Some great fights made, some great shows. The Liam Williams, Liam Smith period, some really good stuff going on. And now it seems like it's fallen back into bad habits, that shows are being cancelled or postponed or moved on. And as a ticket buyer myself, my faith that if I bought a ticket for that day and went and booked my accommodation, booked my train tickets, I wouldn't do it.
And that's why they don't. That's why they're not selling well. Yeah. Not because of the fighters that they're putting on the shows, but people don't trust it, and that's a problem in any business. If people don't trust the supplier to deliver the product, then they stop buying that product.
Yeah. There's a few questions in from Colin at CM Sports Agency, boxing poll vote, around the whole Chisora White thing. So I'm gonna. Dereck, have you ever watched this?
Chisora White or Chisora Joyce?
Chisora Joyce. Sorry, I've read White somewhere else. If you ever watch this, Dereck, I'm not taking the side of Joe Joyce. I don't want him coming after me. I'm just going to play devil's advocate to hopefully give people I'm going to ask the questions that people maybe haven't asked here to give you the full opportunity to go down the avenues of why it isn't happening. So if you start from the premise of, as a fan, if I said as a fan, I just want to see Chisora versus Joyce.
And as a fan, I'd like to see Chisora versus Joyce.
Yeah. So why won't we see it? And I know the answer, by the way, but...
Okay, so if I just turn it wrong, do you think that Dereck Chisora has brought a lot of pleasure to the British public?
100%.
And I think he's been in lots of wars and given entertainment for many, many years, hasn't he?
From press conferences to the ring.
But he has really done that, hasn't he? And you can't say that he hasn't delivered or he hasn't fought anybody.
Yeah, if you go back to the first, one that always sticks in my mind is because when I had my wife over to meet my parents for the first ever time was Chisora Fury, the first fight, where he turned up in that little yellow Reliant Robin, and it was on Channel 5. They had the little promo videos, and he was really playing on the Del Boy aspect. So that's a great fight.
So I think that rather than these tweets and stuff saying Chisora's running faster than Forrest Gump, we need to afford him the respect that he's been a great servant to British boxing, has never run from anybody, he's fought everybody put in front of him. So we accept that. Dereck Chisora's had a lot of hard fights. Right? We think we'll accept that. And as his manager and somebody looking after him, I think it's fair to say that he probably hasn't got a lot of hard fights left in him. In reality, that would be fair, because you've got to say he's not going to be able to carry on for do another 6 or 7 really hard fights.
If you said post Saturday, if we give him Saturday as not a night off, but an easier option, and post that tops 4.
Okay, we'll take 4. So we've got 4 really big potential fights in for Dereck Chisora. So what have I got to do for those 4 fights? I've got to try and maximise the money he earns before he quits the sport. I've got to try and put him in fights that make sense and enhance his chance of getting another fight for big money straight afterwards.
But could you not make an argument if he beat Joe Joyce, he would boost his...
What? What does he do? He's WBC number 14.
I was going to go with profile, but not really.
He doesn't need, this is the first thing, he doesn't need a boost of his profile. The money on offer for Joe Joyce is less than he earned for Dillian Whyte.
But could you not also say, again, turn it around, his stock has dropped since the Dillian Whyte fight?
Only because he was shit in Monaco. Right? He was shit, and he knows he was shit.
Yeah.
So his stock has dropped. His stock as a fighter has dropped. So, but his stock can. Let's use. I'm not saying this, but let's use Carlos Takam, right?
Yeah.
If we fight Joe Joyce in his next fight after this on the Hay Bellew card, which I've never agreed to, no matter what. What my friend is saying. if he fights Joe Joyce, there is no doubt, in my opinion, you can fancy Joe Joyce or you can fancy Dereck Chisora. Whoever you fancy to win is not relevant. Dereck is not going to blow Joe Joyce away. Joe Joyce is somebody that comes forward, throws punches. Whoever fights Joe Joyce is in for a horrific night.
Yep.
Whether Dereck wins or not, it's going to be a horrific fight.
But to turn it round, Joe Joyce isn't going to blast Dereck Chisora away as he did to Donny Palmer.
No, what he's going to do, though, is land frequent shots and frequent punches. Him out. And it's going to be a war, a real war.
Yeah.
So Dereck is going to use up one of his fights in a war.
Probably two of his fights.
Probably like two of his fights in a war, right? Whether he comes through it or not, and okay, I think he'll win, but you can argue otherwise. So that part of that. But he will use up 2 fights in Joe Joyce for money that was substantially less than he got for Dillian Whyte.
Yeah.
Secondly, by beating Joe Joyce, he does not enhance his world ranking. It does not get him nearer to maybe an eliminator for a world title. Because whatever you say in boxing, Dereck Chisora is only 2 wins away.
So there are those out there that say, why are you turning down Joyce when Chisora is never going to get a world title fight?
Right, okay, but who's Carlos Takam got a world title fight? Huey Fury got a world title fight. So he's only 2 wins. So let's just take a situation. We fight Carlos Takam. We beat Carlos Takam.
Yeah.
We will then probably get world rankings in the top 5 or 6 from about 3 bodies. Dereck Chisora then does a final eliminator for a world title. It qualifies him. He's in the mix.
Or there's always the voluntary route as well.
There's a voluntary route. At the moment, he's ranked by the WBC at 14. But beating Joe Joyce, apart from getting money and having awards, probably going to cost him 2 fights. What does it actually do? Yeah. Now, if he fights on Saturday and he stinks the joint out because he looks so terrible, for example, you may look back at that and say, well, that's the only option. Yeah. Maybe, but it's not the preferred option. It's not an option that makes any real logical sense. An option would be to meet Eddie Hearn next week and get a fight that enhances his career. That maybe he's going to take less. He's going to be not as bad, not as hard as a Joe Joyce fight, because Joe Joyce is a young, hungry, up-and-coming fighter like Hrogovic is from Croatia. Yeah. Those two are going to give people murders. Surely there are times when you are better fighting world-ranked fighters who perhaps haven't got that intensity about them, where you can get the same money or even slightly less. But the point is that fight will mean that the next fight is double that money. Yeah. Double that money. Beating Joe Joyce, apart from if Dereck beats Joe Joyce and has a war, everybody's going to say, we knew Joe Joyce was crap, we knew he was a plodder, he wasn't very good, what's Chisora beaten, he doesn't get a world ranking, people are not going to credit Chisora, they're going to slate Joyce off. The only reason that you take that fight is if there are no other options and the money is substantially worth Dereck taking that for. So as a manager, that is not our preferred option. Makes no sense. And I've told David Haye this on several occasions. Yeah. And it's as clear as that. And if you think I'm wrong, then that's okay. But I'm the manager. I work with Dereck, and we've discussed this, and this is what we believe. And it makes no sense. Now, as a boxing fan, you're probably saying you're an arsehole, Goodwin, because you're blocking a fight that we want to watch, right? So I get that, but that's not my role. My role is to try and do the best for Dereck Chisora. And all David Haye is doing is trying to do the best for Joe Joyce and trying to bully or embarrass Dereck into doing a fight.
But it's a classic thing that we've seen where perhaps press conferences were called to talk about a fight that was never happening.
Remember that?
Where you can then say, oh, so-and-so's ducked so-and-so because, what? Because you've come out in public and said you want to fight? I could come out in public and say I want to fight Anthony Joshua. If he doesn't fight me next, he's ducking me.
Now, Dereck Chisora could say tomorrow, Deontay Wilder, I want to fight you, I'm chasing you, Deontay Wilder. I'll put him on a plane to America and he chases Deontay Wilder around America. Does that mean that Deontay Wilder is saying, I don't want to fight Dereck Chisora? No, he's not. He's saying, what do I want to fight you for? You offer me nothing. Now, that doesn't mean that Deontay Wilder is ducking Dereck Chisora. It's just that Deontay Wilder is making a sensible business decision that Dereck Chisora offers him nothing.
Well, I'd love to see Dereck go to America and chase Deontay Wilder.
Do you know what? Do you know what the thing is? It might not be that unrealistic. Because if Dereck actually comes out and over the next few months he could re-establish himself, but I can't do the fighting for him. If he gets in the ring and he performs like he did in Monaco, then from my point of view, I can't do anything for him. He's got to produce in the ring to give me the ammunition to go and get do what I think he should get. But he's not running from Joe Joyce. Is nothing. He's fought Klitschko. He's fought David Haye. He's fought Tyson Fury. He went to Helenius in Finland. Kubrat Pulev. He fought Dylan White in Manchester. He's done these fights. He's not scared of anybody. But the issue is, it just doesn't make any business sense, and the public are being fooled into believing that Dereck is turning down a really good business opportunity. He's really not. He's really not.
So the money isn't significant enough that it would make any sense right now.
But it's more money. It's more. David Haye is telling the truth. It is more money. It is above what Dereck got for the European title fight with Kabiel.
Yeah. But that was on the premise that you thought he would win that fight. There were bigger fights.
Correct. That was a fight to win that and move on. That would have put him in the top 5 in the world, and he'd have been right on the cusp of a massive fight. So we were happy with that money.
Which beating Joyce.
Because Caballero is not a big. He's not going to take you to war. And we thought we'd win. Now Joe Joyce, you may think you'll win, but you're going to have an absolute war. And Caballero was offering us top 5 in the world ranking. Yeah. Joe Joyce offers us nothing. It makes no sense.
Yeah. So he's not lying necessarily about that aspect of it and the money, but
a little bit of an exaggeration. But no, the offer is more. He's telling the truth. It's more than Dereck got for the European title. It's not as much as he got for Dillian White.
So is it fair to say the landscape might be different this time next week if Chisora doesn't perform on Saturday night?
Well, then he may have no choice.
Yeah.
He may have no choice. But I hope he has got a choice.
The fact is, he's always going to be a relevant name. So irrespective of if he wins over a points decision Saturday night and 6th place out, he's still a relevant name that Joe Joyce will be chasing. Correct.
It makes no difference to that fight. But that's not something we're looking at as a higher priority. So I mean, we were offered Alexander Povetkin, right?
Yeah.
We were offered that. So let's make this clear. Eddie Hearn rang and said, would you take Alexander Povetkin? I rang Dereck up and said, yeah, I'll have that. So he took Alexander Povetkin. What happened was Povetkin's team didn't want Dereck. They wanted David Price. Okay? Now we took the Povetkin fight for more money than we've been offered for Joe Joyce. Just tell you that. So let's get that straight. More money.
Yeah. And that is the potential then to earn
because it's worth him doing the fight, because it means something. So we were going to do Povetkin for more money than Joyce, but it gave us something. Joe Joyce doesn't offer anything. Yeah. So he's not scared of Joe Joyce because he's going to fight Povetkin, and Povetkin would beat Joe Joyce, right? So in my opinion, this isn't a case he's running from anyone, and that's disrespectful, but they're just trying to hype it. It's a business, a pure decision. I hope people are watching this do actually understand this now and really grasp what we're trying to do.
Well, I think we've probably laboured on it enough. But any questions, fire them in for next week. I don't want ones about will Chisora fight Joyce, because I'm not going to answer them or ask them, Steve, because I think we've gone over that point.
I think we should close that now.
That's it, done. Right, but yeah, thank you very much to those that sent them in. Enjoy the boxing Saturday night. Cheer on Frank Buglioni at home. And yeah, all being well, next week you'll have somebody who's got that British title outright.
And we'll be looking forward to Mal Shinkwin going and getting the English title.
Yeah, up in Preston.
Up in Preston. So we've got lots to look forward to.
Excellent. So thank you very much for watching as always. Thank you very much for the questions, and we'll see you next week.